Good afternoon, and welcome to this Dutton Dunwich Council meeting. It is May 14th, 2025. It is 5 p.m., and I will call this meeting to order.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich opens at 5 p.m. All in favor? That's carried.
And Deputy Mayor Loveland will give our land acknowledgement.
We will begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of First Nations people who have long-standing relations to the land, water, and region of southwestern Ontario. We also acknowledge that the local lower Thames River watershed communities, which include Chippewas of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, Munsee Delaware Nation, and Delaware Nation of Moraviantown. We value the significant historical and contemporary contributions of local and regional First Nations and all of the original peoples of Turtle Island, North America. We are thankful for the opportunity to live, learn, and share with mutual respect and appreciation.
Okay, thank you. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? I see none. Included in the agenda package was the draft minutes from last meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? I see none. They will be adopted as presented to council in the agenda. Randy, are there any items not listed on the agenda?
There are no items.
Thank you. I would ask council's permission to adjust the agenda. I'd like to move planning up ahead of the drainage department. That's to accommodate Matt Vaughn, if that's okay. Okay. Number 6 on the agenda, Daryl, is your report on parkland dedication for the workshop.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Pleasure to be here. My name is Daryl Abs, managing partner with Watson and Associates Economists Limited, and our firm is working with the municipality to update some parkland dedication policies. So I have a brief presentation today, and then at the end, I'll talk a little bit about some of the consultation that we're going to work through. So next slide, please. So the purpose of having parkland dedication policies is to ensure that you can recover parkland to allow the parkland to grow in tandem with your communities. You need more people need more park space. And so through parkland dedication under the Planning Act, you can recover land to build parks. There's some recent changes to legislation back in 2022 that reduced municipalities' ability to recover for parkland dedication, also reduced what you can collect through development charges. And these reductions on those revenue tools put pressure on taxes. And so wherever we can maximize use of the revenue tools that we have, we can limit the impact on the taxpayer and have growth pay for their costs. Next slide, please. And next slide. And so there's really 3 sections of the Planning Act that speak to parkland dedication. So section 51.1 and 53, they relate to subdivisions and consents. And so you don't need a bylaw, and you can require parkland be dedicated or cash in lieu of parkland. Talk about that in a second. Under section 42, you require a bylaw, but you can apply parkland dedication requirements to all development and redevelopment in the municipality. Next slide, please. And so what the legislation says is if I'm going to, as the municipality, require land to be dedicated, you can require 5% of the land for residential or institutional and 2% for industrial or commercial. There's an alternative dedication rate for residential developments. I wouldn't say that would really be applicable here in your municipality. It's really for high density development, but in the chance that you get an apartment building or something like that, you could collect more parkland based on a number of units per hectare. But generally for yourselves, you're most concerned with the 5% dedication rate. So if you're not taking the physical land to build a park on, you can take payment in lieu of the land. So the equivalent value of that land in the same amounts, the 5% and the 2%. Okay. So there are some I talked about a little bit about the impacts of the recent legislative changes, and really what this is they brought in a number of exemptions from parkland dedication. So really to align with the exemptions in the Development Charges Act. So additional, those ADUs, those additional units, basement apartments, things like that, affordable, attainable housing, nonprofit housing, all these exemptions to align with the Development Charges Act. As part of this process, we have to undertake a parks plan, and that's really what this parks plan report is that goes along with the analysis, which is required to identify the need for parks in the municipality so that you can pass a parkland dedication bylaw. Okay, the last bullet really talks about potentially, and this isn't enforced yet, but it is in the legislation that will be proclaimed at some point, that you may be required to take encumbered lands. So if you have a subdivision that's going to be developed and it's on maybe some hazard lands or a woodlot or something like that, you may be required to accept that as part of your parkland dedication, subject to an appeal at the OLT. So, less potential land for you to build the park on that you want to. Next slide, please. So I'll kind of skip over the alternative rate. It's there for information purposes, for the public and for yourselves if you'd like to learn more about it. But again, really, I don't think that would be applicable too much here in the municipality. Lastly, there's a rate freeze. So similar to development charges, if I'm proceeding through a site plan and I submit my application, the rate that's determined is frozen the date I submit my application. The municipality review, approve the plan, and then they have 2 years to pull their building permits to get that old frozen rate. If it takes longer than that, then they have to do an appraisal and pay them whatever the new land value is on that date. Next slide, please. Okay, so your current policies and practices, and so the policies set out allow you to recover 5% of the land for residential or institutional, 2% commercial, industrial, which is good. It really just follows the legislation. In practice, if you were to receive payment in lieu of the actual land, then you have these per lot fees. So for subdivisions and condominiums, it's $1,500 per lot. And for consents, it's $500 per lot. Talk a little bit about what that means and whether those rates are too low. Next slide, please. So when we're looking at undertaking the analysis, and I'll show you a schematic of what we did, we wanted to look at how much growth we're anticipating. So using the development charge study, about 560 people, about 364 units, and about 112 employees. Next slide, please. And so to determine the need for parkland in a municipality, what we can do is we can say, well, based on that population growth and based on some standard of how much park space you want per 1,000 people, we can see how much parkland we're going to need in the future by 2051. If we take your current inventory of parkland, take that growth and then multiply it by how much the 5% land for residential, 2% for non-residential, how much land could you actually acquire if you were to get all the land? And will there be a gap? Because if there is a gap, that means that will need to be funded with taxes if you're going to maintain that service level. So next slide, please. So when we take a look at your current inventory of land, it's 12.22 hectares of parkland. When we look at the current population, that equates to about 2.69 hectares of parkland for every 1,000 people. If we take that, apply it to the new growth that we anticipate by 2051, that means we would need an additional 1.5 hectares of land. So not too much. Next slide, please. And so if we take the growth in units and we look at the potential land area related to that, and we take 5% of that, you could get about 1.8 hectares from residential. And for non-residential, you could get it'd be less than a hectare for commercial and industrial, and about the same for institutional, so minor amount. But what's important here is when we do the analysis, it looks like just the residential development, applying the 5%, would give you more than you need. So something to keep in mind as we talk about the policies. Next slide, please. So if you were to go and require payment in lieu instead of actually taking the land, and we were to take a look at that $1,500 per lot, if you're allowed to charge 5% of the value of the land, that means $1,500 equates to a land value of $30,000. And I don't think anyone can buy a plot in a subdivision for $30,000. And so what we did was we took a look at the MPAC database. We took a look at recent sales on Realtor to see, well, what if we had a subdivision, what do these lots go for? And on average, over the last couple of years, it was about $160,000 per lot. Well, if you apply the 5% to that, which is what you're allowed to, that's about $7,900 per lot. So you're charging $1,500, it could be $7,900 based on the legislation. If we apply that analysis to townhomes, it would be about $3,000 per lot. Next slide, please. And so the report is a little bit lengthier and it has a draft bylaw in there for consideration, but some of the recommendations that come out of this is that if you're going to be utilizing parkland dedication, you should utilize it using a parkland dedication bylaw. Because if you're taking the cash for parkland dedication, if you use the bylaw, the valuation of the land is the day before building permit, higher value. If you're just using the sections 51 and 53 with no bylaw, then the value of the land is the day before the provisional consent is given or before the draft plan's approved. So typically unserviced land at a much lower rate. So to maximize, you use this bylaw and you can impose the value the day before building permit. The consideration would be to increase that per lot fee. And so the maximum based on that review looks like it could be about $7,860 for singles, $3,144 for medium density. But you can impose something lower. And so you have a consideration to impose something lower, which is higher than you have now, or maybe phase it in over a couple of years. The interesting part is if you're going to use let's say this per lot fee, it's a little bit easier to administer for the developer and for the municipality. If they disagree with that fee, they can just get an appraisal and pay the 5%. So fairly easy. We can write that in the bylaw. We've recommended that you exempt institutional development. So schools wouldn't have to pay, other institutional development wouldn't have to pay. And then because based on the analysis, it looks like you could recover what you need from residential, you could consider exempting non-residential development altogether as well. One thing to keep in mind is parkland dedication fees, if they do pay them, aren't just used to purchase land. They can be used for rehabilitation of existing facilities and parks. So, the revenue you have will assist in reducing what you need to fund with taxes. Next slide, please. And then lastly, I think part of the recommendation here is to follow this consultation process. And so we have planned a public consultation meeting to get any feedback from the public on the 22nd. Part of this requirement is that we engage with the school boards, but I think if we recommend they don't pay, that'll be a very quick meeting. And then bring back the bylaw for council's consideration later in May. And with that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Daryl, for that presentation, and everybody had a chance to look at that prior. Are there any questions from council? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Loveland.
I think for the last couple of years now, I've been asking that we, as a council, sit down and look at not only fees, but also if we should be accepting land on some of these subdivisions that are quite a ways away from our main park. I was understood this was part of what was going to happen here, but apparently not. So I guess my concern is, yes, we want to keep as much of the very active stuff in our Sons of Scotland Park, but if we're going to have, as an example, a couple of subdivisions on the south east corner of the township, maybe of the settlement of Dutton, maybe we should have a couple of small playgrounds there so younger kids could play there without having to walk all the way across town, across Main Street. And that's really what I was asking for, is some direction from council. Is that something we should be considering?
You want to respond to that?
Yeah, so through the mayor, so I think, so the parkland dedication policies here really allow you, if we can maximize the revenue tools here, ensure you're either recovering the land or the cash, whatever is preferable. The municipality has the choice in any instance in what you'd like to receive. And so if instead of the physical land, you would prefer to receive the value in lieu, you can choose to do that on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, go ahead. Don.
That would be a staff recommendation to council. They would review any new subdivisions that come in, look at where it is situated in the settlement area and make that recommendation to see if it would be preferable to take the land instead of the cash.
Maybe just a supplementary, on this. I think we were always told that we had a policy that we would put all of our parks over to Sons of Scotland Park. So I thought that's what we were supposed to be doing as a council, was looking at that policy. So when this happens now, we don't, as a council, we don't see that. I mean, it's strictly the recommendations have been that we accept grants in lieu and no parks. So that's what I thought we were, part of this process was to do that.
And I think through the Planning Act, that option is still there for council prior to making any recommendations on the approved plans of subdivision. So the planning department would certainly make sure that any comments are received from municipal staff and council on that.
Anything further? Go ahead, Councillor Grudak.
I know this might be a little bit out there, but I'm wondering if Bill 5 is going to affect this and if there's going to be some overlap and what the potential consequences for this would be. Like you have no idea at this point, do you? I know, I was looking and I was like, there's some overlap, and I'm just wondering what that's going to look like.
So through the mayor, I can take that back and take a look at it, and then when the information comes back, just give you a little brief on if there will be any impacts.
Anything further? Go ahead, Councillor Pember.
Yeah, I guess my question was basically answered, but and through Deputy Mayor Loveland and everybody's answers here, I guess I just wanted to make sure that we had the choice to accept land or accept cash in lieu of land. Because yeah, I mean, we have lots of park space on this side of town, but you know, if we are getting developments over on the southeast, and you know, not like the railway tracks are there anymore, but it's still a long ways away from a park that, you know, a nice little parkette or something in a subdivision, it'd be nice to have. So I think that's important to keep in mind. And as long as we have that through the Planning Act and through the subdivision agreements, I think we're fine.
Councillor Dreyfus.
Just again, does this consider the hamlet of Wallacestown, Iona? The Wallacestown has a park now. Is that in the consideration of our parklands right now through your data?
Yeah, through the mayor, all of the parkland in the entire municipality has been considered as a whole. Yeah, we didn't look at the communities individually, just together as the municipality.
Okay, so if and when south of town gets developed, we have a window, or we have an opportunity. And I agree that there should be something out there, but that window is open. Okay. Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, sorry, just one more comment. And I know we had it in budget, but we took it out. But as development starts to come, I think we should look back into, and when we have the affordability of it, the Parks and Trails Master Plan, that really would give us a framework of where we need things and so on. So I know it was a tight budget this year, so we took it out, but I just wanted to mention that, you know, when and if we can start developing again, we should look at creating that again, so that we have something that council's made a decision on what direction we want to go.
Okay. Anything further? I have to limit debate. So thank you, Daryl. Okay, we're gonna skip to number 8 on the agenda, and it's the planning department, and it's the planning.
There's
Oh, sorry.
there's a resolution. If
Okay.
you want.
My apologies. Trying to rush too much.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Joulard, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the final report of Watson and Associates titled Parkland Dedication and Payment in Lieu of Parkland Analysis dated April 3rd, 2025 for information, and that a Parkland dedication bylaw be prepared and presented to council at the next council meeting, May 28th, 2025. All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you, Randy, for keeping me in line. Okay, the planning fees report. Everyone has seen this. Matt, I'm gonna just turn it over to you. Thanks, Daryl.
Okay, thank you very much. Through the mayor to council, I'm here today to talk about municipal planning application fees. They're your primary source for recuperating the operation cost of your planning applications in the planning department. There's many examples across Ontario. Planning fees are used for full cost recovery and processing land use planning applications. The report before you primarily addresses 20 existing application fees and 9 new fees contained within the fees and charge bylaw. It identifies the fees and charges to be collected by the municipality for planning applications and other documents that are prepared by the planning department. Upon review of Dutton Dunwich's planning staff resources and needs, and in comparison with the volume of planning applications processed on an annual basis, a cost recovery analysis was conducted to ensure that the planning fees cover both staff time as well as the necessary overhead of the department. Comprehensive review of the department's direct costs, indirect overhead costs was undertaken. As part of the municipality's review of planning fees across Ontario, a comparison of other 2-tier rural communities, single-tier rural communities, as well as larger urban areas was undertaken. An average was created for each of these fee types and summarized against this municipality's existing 2024 planning fees in the chart that's provided in the report. Based on those averages and in review of direct and indirect costs associated with each application type, an updated planning fee amount has been proposed. This proposed fee more accurately reflects the municipal costs associated with the processing and implementing each of the below planning application types. Each of those application types is also listed in that chart. In most cases, the proposed planning fee is proportionally larger than the existing planning fee. However, to offset the increase in the fee, staff are proposing to phase in the new rate over the next 2 years. Except for area studies, block plans, and expansions to settlement boundaries, where the difference is equal to or greater than 100% of the existing rate, staff are proposing to increase the fee by 75% of the total increase in 2025, then up to 100% of the total increase in 2026. In 2027, staff will revisit a similar planning fee review exercise to ensure that Dutton Dunwich's planning fee rates are proportional to the average provincial planning fee rate, and that they continue to adequately cover staffing resources. Based on the review of Dutton Dunwich's planning fees, it's recommended that council approve the proposed increase in municipal planning fees using a 2-year phased-in approach, as outlined in attachment 1 of this report. The increase in planning fees follows the legislative permissions of the Planning Act and is considered a reasonable increase to help adequately compensate for staff time and resources in planning. Processing Planning Act applications. Should council approve the proposed planning fees, they would be implemented Monday, June 2nd, allowing some time to notify the industry of these changes. I realize that the changes are a bit more than what you are charging now, but to be honest, your planning fees are quite low. They're not compensating for your staff time. Generally speaking, every time you get a planning application, your ratepayers are paying for those applications. So as developers come here from outside of the area and they're developing your communities and they're making profit on those communities, your existing tax base is more or less paying for those planning fees. So this change would help to compensate for that, and development will pay for development. That's the idea here. If there's any questions, I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Matt, for that report. I'll open it up to council. No questions. Go ahead.
Just make the comment that I think we're all expecting this to happen when we made our change in planners, and so it's not a surprise, I don't think, to anybody at this table that we had to do that.
Okay. Nothing further than. Okay, we'll move on.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of County of Elgin Planning Services titled Municipal Planning Application Fees dated May 14th, 2025 for information, and that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich approves the changes listed in Attachment 1 to increase the municipality's planning application fees, and that the fees and charges bylaw number 2024-61 be amended to reflect council's approved planning fees. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. We haven't done many of these recently when interest rates drop below this program, but we've seen a couple recently. Okay, go ahead, Randy.
Moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of, oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry, apologies. Sorry, moved by Drulard, seconded by Dreyfus, that the tile drain loan application for concession 5 south of A North Part Lot 5 be approved subject to the terms and conditions of the tile loan program and the availability of funds from the province of Ontario, and that a $200 inspection fee apply and separate invoices be submitted, one for eligible work, one for ineligible work, as specified in the tile loan program, and that the previous tile loan that was approved for this property on September 26, 2018 be canceled, and further that the applicants are required to notify the drainage inspector 48 hours before construction is to begin. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you. And item B is the engineer's report on the BD drain. Council has had a chance to review that, pretty standard stuff. If there's no comments from council. Resolution, please, Randy.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives the report of the drainage superintendent titled Receive the Report of the Engineer, BD Drain, dated May 14th, 2025 for information, and that council decides to proceed with this report, and that the meeting to consider the report will be held at approximately 5 p.m. May 28th, 2025. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. And item C, notice a request for drain major improvement on the Keeler drain. Any questions, comments from council? Again, pretty standard stuff. Randy, please.
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that the Council of the Municipality of Dutton Dunwich receives and decides to proceed with the Keeler Drain Improvement Request under Section 78 of the Drainage Act received from the property owners and instructs the deputy clerk to notify LTVCA as required under Section 78(2) of the Drainage Act, and that the requesting landowner be notified of council's decision to proceed and appoint an engineer at a subsequent council meeting once notice is received from LTVCA or the required 30 days notice has passed. That council appoint an engineer at the subsequent council meeting once notice is received from LTVCA or the required 30 days notice has passed. That notices of council's decision to appoint the engineer be sent to the requesting landowner, LTVCA, OMAFRA, and Spreet Associates Ltd. And that when council appoints the engineer is instructed to combine this project with the 2022 improvement request so that both are completed in one drainage report. All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you. And the last one is a request to improve the Keeler drain. A good opportune time for additional landowner to include this, so go ahead, Randy, please.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drouillard, that council instructs the engineer to combine the Section 78(5) request to improve the Keeler drain initiated by the property owners in the fall of 2022 with the 2023 Section 78(1) improvement request so that all are completed in one drainage report. All in favor? That's carried.
Okay, thank you. Item 9 is the landfill monitoring and operations report. And I trust council has read the entire report. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought maybe it would have been worse than this. So any other comments or questions? I mean, they're watching us pretty close. Okay. Randy, please.
We're just moving on to the consent agenda.
Pardon?
Just moving on to the consent agenda, no motion there.
Oh, there's no motion there. Okay. Okay, on to the consent agenda. Okay, under A is, I'll just read them off. The AMO policy update, April Roma board update, Elgin County Council highlights from April 22nd, a number of items of opposition to the strong mayor's powers, and Township of West Lincoln, a resolution to support Canadian economy. I'll just stop there. Is there any comments from council on those? Okay. Committee reports, the Trans-Canada Trail. I understand you had a meeting recently.
Yeah, I'll comment on that. We had our meeting a couple weeks back, well attended. The trails are in great shape from what they're saying, a little bit of repair on a couple of bridges and stuff, but nothing too major. You know, they're always looking for more volunteers. But no, they're a great committee and happy to be on that one. And yeah, they really are self-sufficient in what they do and what they want to do. So, but no, a really positive report after the winter time for what's going on there.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to staff monthly reports. They're in front of you there. Does anyone wish to speak to any one of them? The manager, roads, water, wastewater? It's always a topic of conversation. Councillor Drouillard.
I just, in the fire chief monthly, I was really pleased to see that the bunker gear extractor is now on site and that's good news for our firefighters in our community that we can take care of them and wash their equipment. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Everything's good. Randy, please.
Moved by Dreyfus, seconded by Loveland, that items on the consent agenda be approved. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, we're on to any unfinished business. Councillor Pemberton.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor, through you. After my mother-in-law passed away, I was asked to try and find a painting for the municipality. It took a little while to sort through and for the family to figure everything else that they wanted. And I really had one criteria that it was something involved with Dutton Dunwich. Fortunately, there was one left. It was of the Wallacestown Fair Sheep Judging Competition. So I have asked to speak for that, unfortunately, without asking council first, because it was the only one. So I guess I just wanted to make sure that we were okay to proceed with this. I believe the cost was $395 for the framed painting of it. But I wanted to speak for it before it was spoken for elsewhere. So I just wanted to bring that up and get direction from council on that to move forward or what we'd like to do.
Councillor Dreyfus, I think your committee, your Economic Development Committee wished to do something as well.
Yes, so I'm happy to hear that. That's I'm in favor of that 100%. So we are we have two silhouettes, full-size 6-foot metal structures that are going to be placed in a municipality as part of our EDC initiative. And then there will be a QR code on each one of them, and it will tell the story of the town crier and of Jenny and her artistry. So I believe they're talking about putting one in Centennial Park, or maybe even doing them there together, because obviously they're a couple. So, but that's up for discussion with council. But I know it's in the works and that they're going to proceed with it. So we're excited to be to get that thing started, because it represents our community and that's what we're all about. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm in favor of what you're presenting with the artwork as well. So
We already discussed it, so I see no problem. We just got to find a place to hang it now. So if you could deliver that, and we'll
Yep.
make sure that payment is arranged. Thank you for that. Is there any new business? Councillor Dreyfus.
an initiative with economic development between the Elgin County EDC, Southold, West Elgin, and Dutton Dunwich. Will be hosting in Dutton Dunwich, June the 18th. Will be a business cultivating success business event. It will be held at Prim Peony. It starts at 5 o'clock and it goes till 8. And the initiative is geared to promoting better business in general. We're going to have 3 specific speakers that are going to talk about, one about economy, and one is about marketing your business on a shoestring. And then we also are going to have an agribusiness discussion as well, speaker come in. So we're targeting 125 businesses at this point, and it's really coming together, the whole event. So you'll see a lot of promotion in the next couple weeks to get people registered and to attend. The last one we did last year was in September in Southold at Nature's Oasis. It was a fantastic event. And then in the fall, we're going to do one in West Elgin at a particular business there. So we're trying to do 3 a year. And without the tremendous support from Elgin County Economic Development, without their support, I don't know if we could pull it off, but it's part of our EDC budget, or all 3 combined municipalities have supported this through their budgets. And then with the support of St. Thomas or Elgin County, we are it puts the whole package together, because they're basically doing all the organizing and we're just supporting the cause. So looking forward to it. So leave the 18th open if you're available. Get yourself registered, and I think you'll experience a really fun night. So anyway, you're all welcome. So
Where was that?
it's
again?
going to be held at Prim Peony on number 3 highway. Yep. June the 18th.
June the 18th.
And it's open to budding entrepreneurs, existing businesses, home businesses, and we also have an agricultural spin to it as well. We're probably going to have a speaker from Farm Credit Corporation speaking on economics of agriculture right now. So I think there's something there for everybody, and that's what we're trying to do, so.
And how do you register?
It's gonna be online shortly.
Okay.
So it'll come together next week.
Thank you. Are there, oh, go ahead.
I don't know if this is new business or not, and I know Don was away for a bit in Scotland. Hope you enjoyed your trip. But I just wondered, Don, if you could give us any update on our sewer, where we're at, because we haven't heard anything, at least some of us haven't.
So I did speak with Dylan late last week. They are progressing with work on the report. They were out at the site about 3 weeks ago, Archie had said. So their hope is to have the report to us late May for the first review, and then we will get it back to them for council presentation. We're hoping for the 11th of June. If not, it'll be the next meeting. So it will be coming to council in June for sure.
Okay, anything further? Go ahead, Councillor Driller.
Not new business, but announcement, if you're okay to proceed there. On behalf of the Wallacestown Optimist and the Dutton District Lions Club, we would like to thank the community, community business and support, and the municipality for supporting the townwide cleanup day. We had less teams, but we still significantly cleaned up. I think one of the teams brought in 86 bags of garbage, something like that, and recycling. So it was significant that what the community came together to do so we just wanted to send that thank you out to you.
That's a great event. Brings attention to that problem. Any other announcements? Seeing none? Randy, you can confirm proceedings?
Moved by Loveland, seconded by Pemberton, that bylaw 2025-29 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the municipal council of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich be read a first, second, and third time and passed. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, and the future meetings are in front of you? And Randy, we'll wrap it up.
Moved by Pemberton, seconded by Drouillard, that the meeting of the municipality of Dutton Dunwich closes at 5:41 p.m. All in favor? And that's carried.